Wendy Richter. I'm gonna fuck you up.
We want Mina.
Mamacita.
Thank you, Trish.
I am Medusa, always have been Medusa, and always will be Medusa.
That too, it was gonna come out anyway.
I prank bitches.
Call me
Diva. Tony Khan! Give me my last man standing match between Willow and Mox, you bastard! Sorry about that. Kia ora! What's up, sickos? Welcome back to episode 9 of Don't Call Me Diva! We talk about women's wrestling. I am Bex, and this is the episode. We talk about AEW's women's wrestling, to be precise. We are in video, so you can get to see the full experience of my jibber jabber, and audio on YouTube as well. Audio on all your podcast providers. You might need to scroll for us a little bit because, who knows. But we are there. We run down the weekly episodes of Dynamite, Collision, and Ring of Honor. Take a look back down the weekly take a look back at AEW shows from its beginning. We are at All Out at the moment, the first one ever. We discuss women's wrestlers, sometimes from the Diva era, sometimes from the Attitude era, WCW as it was, TNA's knockouts, and some indie wrestlers who come in to face the AEW roster. Sometimes there's news, sometimes there's a guest, but always there is fun. All right, we discuss lore. We definitely make up lore. We fantasy book and we waffle on tangents. And when I say we, it is me. So let's fucking go. Right, we have some news. It's a bit of some sassy news, but here at Don't Call Me Diva, we're going to be a little bit sassy for now. And according to the Khan, master of the Dub universe, AEW is no longer the underdogs in this game we call pro wrestling. Even though we have yet to celebrate our 6th fucking birthday. So well done, team. We made it! Big Kaiju Shoko Nakajima is now the MLW Women's World Featherweight Champion. Congratulations. Last week was Mia Yim's birthday. I actually think it might have been last week, but Mia Yim's birthday was very recently, so happy birthday to her. Shelton Benjamin, of course, made a hilarious post about the event, which made me giggle. They're so cute. There is speculation running wild, everyone, about where the former world champion and one half of the greatest story ever told, Mariah May's future endeavors in wrestling will be. If she goes to the other company, because she's been having some fun in Las Vegas, but a whole bunch of people have, so who knows. But if she does go to the other company now, then it would be perfect timing for her, to be honest. Like, if we're just talking about the woman's career, you know, she leaves AEW very accomplished, like at the top of her fucking game in AEW, fresh, she doesn't move on to any other storylines that could kind of, honestly, how could you top the fucking storyline? Okay, so that's a bit rude. Of course you want her to top it, but it was fucking awesome. So, like, what I'm saying, if she does leave and goes on to the World Republic Wrestling of Entertainment, good on her. And I hope they pay her handsomely. And I hope they give her all the gold. And then I hope she goes on to somewhere else and has an even more flourishing career, and then somewhere else and be a world champion over there. And then maybe in 7 or so years' time, we get her back in AEW. Hey! It's all fun. And with that, sickos, bring the boom, shake your boobs, it's Dynamite. You ready for it? It is day 1 of our spring breakthrough. Day 2 celebration. AEW's 2-day celebration, my bad, of being the longest pro wrestling show to air on Turner Broadcasting, which, as everybody knows, means that Dynamite bet Nitro and the new Condor can suck it. All right, I swear, I'm going to stop now. This is episode 289 of Dynamite. We're in Boston, home of the CEO Mercedes Moné, procurer of belts and boats around the world. Speaking of around the world, AEW are having a glam slam in Mexico City, Mexico. Is it Mexico? Mexico? I apologize. Put in whatever one is like correct, but I mean no disrespect. AEW is also having a Dynamite and Collision in Glasgow in Scotland, which is fucking cool. I think this is the first time they've been in Scotland, I think. And they're going to have Forbidden Door, which is the AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's co-pay-per-view in London. I'm not quite too sure where, but you'll find out. Oh, it might be at the O2 Arena thing. Anyway, but yay, that's pretty fucking cool, huh? The venue for these two shows in Boston is really awesome. It's one of those lovely music theater type places. I've mentioned before that I love these kind of venues for wrestling. I actually kind of prefer these ones for the weekly shows, especially. The magnificence of a big arena makes the pay-per-views even greater, I think, if it's not like, if it's not what you're in every single week kind of thing. It just gives the whole grander experience. I did actually get a reply from someone who was actually there, though. They were on the bottom seating thing, and I think they must have been quite far away. And they did say that they couldn't really see too much that was happening on the ground because of it being built, obviously, for the stage to see. So keep that in mind, perhaps, if you're like going to one of these events, if you might want to. That might not be the best place. That will just fucking stand on your chairs. Everyone just stands, but standing all day is a bit shit. Why am I waffling on about standing on chairs? Anyway, we are starting off the night hot with the semi-final of the right-hand bracket of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. It is the TBS champion, Mercedes Moné, versus the Ring of Honor champion, Athena. The CEO's music hits, and the crowd bursts into cheers because, hey, it's a homegrown hero. Woo! For Bouts Monet is in another set of fire-inspired battle gear this evening, wearing the long red coat lined with gold and a long red bandana this time. It actually looks kind of cool. The TBS champion has fire in her hair, and she is red from head to toe. Monet is covered in all of her gold. There are gold shoulder decals on her jacket. Gold chains jangle around while she CEO dances in the ring, with the crowd chanting CEO out of time with her music. But hey, moving on. Bow! Athena's here to say, Mercedes, you'll pay for being a bitch with your sass and shit. Let's see what happens. Athena is here, people. A match I have been waiting for. You may have known. And I know this is just the beginning. As I have said many a times, that this is going to be the beginning of a lasting feud, hoping. To think Athena and Mercedes have never fought before now is freaking nuts when I sit and think about it. I guess they just were never in the same place at the same time. Or were they? Because we had Athena was in NXT when Mercedes was Sasha Banks in the main thingamaboo-boo. But Athena did go up to the main thingamaboo-boo at some point, didn't she? But they've never fucking fought, and that is just bizarre to me. Absolutely bizarre. She, meaning Athena, is out in her multicolored gear, her double belts both spinning and non-spinning. Athena's smile spreads from ear to ear as the crowd erupts into cheers at her arrival, and I may have just slightly erupted into some mini cheers on my couch. Anyway, as the camera pans, the Forever Champ's expression changes, and it's to hunger. And I realize that she is not looking at moi. She is looking at the Owen Hart Cup trophy. Because that's right there. I do wonder if one day someone's going to end up being donked by that thing. I always worry about certain things like, ringside. If there's a new thing ringside, someone's probably going to be thrown into it. But so far, no throwing of certain things at the cup. So here we go. She, meaning Athena, struts to the ring as she hits the corners for her entrance, talking smack between Monet as she goes between them. Tony Schiavone says that this could well be a women's wrestling dream match. And on this show, we say, fuck yes it is. Most definitely a women's wrestling dream match. And to think that we are getting this in only episode 9 of Don't Call Me Diva. If anything, we have started this show with impeccable timing because all of this amazing women's wrestling I get to talk about, I had no idea that it would be this filled with awesome stuff. When I mean, obviously, I knew women's wrestling was awesome, but I just didn't realize that all this stuff was just going to ramp up right now, and it's so exciting. So I am trying to calm myself down and pay attention to this match because I'm bouncing up and down, very, very hyped as fuck. Kind of like now, but a little bit more. The crowd is also hot for this opening match, and the two wrestlers soak up the vibes before engaging in combat. We get a very appropriate holy shit from the crowd. In pro wrestling crowd tradition, just in case you did not know, the chant of holy shit in this context is used when two wrestlers who have never usually faced each other before but are a dream match for fans, and finally they face off, or they show up at an event as a surprise debut, or they come in at the end of someone else's match and it's like, I'm going to finally defeat you. You get me? Okay. We are at the beginning of what is going to be a 21 minute and 37 seconds of wrestling awesomeness. The two wrestlers test their strength and lock up. Both counter with a takeover, but they come right back and lock up like magnets. On the third lockup, Athena and Mercedes end up rolling through the ropes, but they never break apart. Tonight, the ramp goes straight from the ring to the stage, and this always makes me, kayfabe, nervous, because I have law that whenever we have a ramp like this, someone gets legit hurt. Because, I'm not saying it happens every time, but it happens often. Woo! Mercedes and Athena are still locked up with each other as they grapple on the ramp. It's very, very impressive how they managed to do this. I don't think I've seen any. Obviously you can only really do this with this kind of ramp setup, but I haven't seen many people just fucking grapple their way through the ropes and then just continue on going without. Woo! It was brilliant. So after they finally release each other with malice, they stare at each other. They are right in front of that Owen Hart Cup, and they get in each other's face and start talking smack, while Four Boats, Monet, does something she usually doesn't and stands over Athena, who, I'm not making a short joke, I swear, I'm not particularly height savvy myself, but, Mercedes doesn't stand over many. I said I wasn't making a short joke. Athena is standing staunch before the TBS champion, and then she just shoves her out of her face because she's used to people getting in her face like this. The ref, speaking of getting in their face, is telling them that they got to get their asses back into the ring. And while Athena is distracted by telling her to shut up, Monet scoots in and locks a waist lock around Athena. Athena is struggling to get out of this while both are also trying to get back into the ring before this prematurely ends in a count out. I wonder what would have happened then. Surely that's what I had restarted. Or if they both got eliminated from it. Anyway, that doesn't happen because they both come into the ring as one again and are still locked together by Monet's waist lock. We have excitable energy in the studio today. We're just going to move with it, okay? This is what you've got. Athena ends up turning it into a side headlock and squeezes Mercedes' head. Mercedes throws her off because fucking ow, and Athena comes off the rope back at her with sass, but not to attack. Once again, they stare at each other. and then look up. This time into a flurry of cradles, both kicking out at one each time. Athena kicks Monet in the gut and rolls her up into a tight little package. To get out of the pin, Mercedes shifts her weight and the two roll around the ring like a sexy little boulder. Now, sidebar, no bullshit. This is really, really fucking hard to do, and is also really, really hard to make look good, because you just got to get momentum and just roll and roll and roll. And like, if someone fucks it up, it looks a little dumb. But they pulled it off perfectly. When I say they were a sexy little boulder, I don't just mean that from a kind of way. Like, that was perfectly done. Mwah. They lose momentum, and Athena finds herself in the pin. A burst of power breaks it, though, and Athena is out by 2. Athena kneels on the mat, breathing heavily, staring daggers at Monet. Mercedes is on her feet, but she's also breathing hard, and she's using the ropes to hold herself up. It's been a short amount of time, but the women have just gone at each other full ball. Athena challenges Mercedes to come at her, and she does. They lock up again and end up on the ropes. To break the rope count and the hold, Athena whips Mercedes to the ropes, the other ones. As she comes back, Monet counters Athena and takes a round trip around her body before bringing her down in a roll-up for the pin. Like I said before, these women in this division, they've all been working on their little roll-ups. They saw the world champion and how much she achieved with them, and they all went, fuck yeah, I'm going to try and do a million fucking roll-ups. Good on ya. Mercedes yoinks Athena's foot when she tries to kick her. Oh, by the way, Athena powered out at 2. She tries to kick her, like I said, and makes her suffer by kicking her hard in the gut. Runs and slams Athena into the turnbuckle with a sunset flip. Mercedes then goes to the opposite corner again, this time stopping to take in the view of the cup nicely, this time, not with such hunger. Then she runs back at Athena and lands that nasty little meteor. Mercedes then drags Athena out of the corner by her leg and pins her, but she only gets a 1 for the audacity. Athena's strong kick out at 1 insults Mercedes, because in her mind, how dare Athena have the audacity? But I'm like, how dare you have the audacity? But she's the TBS champion, and she's the shit. Monet then attempts to get Athena up for the Monet Maker, but knowing the danger she is in, Athena backflips out of it and pulls Monet down for a pin, but is unsuccessful. Athena then takes out all of her frustration on Mercedes with hard kicks and impressive heavy-hitting handspring elbow. The Ring of Honor World Champion then scoops the TBS champion in a tight inside cradle, but it's not enough to keep Monet down, and Athena stares daggers through the ref's eye, like it's her fault, but kind of is. But this is the thing, ladies. If everyone's working on these tight little cradles, that also means that everyone's working on how to get out of these tight little cradles. The more you know. This match is delivering everything in regards to its in-ring storytelling, the clashing of two titans who are very skilled, but in different ways. Speaking of the ref, Aubrey, who has been a AEW top ref since day 1, is refereeing her 2000th match. I had to go back to make sure I heard that correctly, but that actually makes sense. That is impressive, and congratulations, my dear. You do well. I give you a lot of shit, but you deserve it, because, come on. Honey. As the crowd gets distracted by some tall man in the crowd, Mercedes has managed to pretzel her way around Athena's body, gotten her to the mat, and has applied her submission, the statement maker. Athena is stretching out for the ropes, and she has to twist and use all of her strength, but she can't reach them. But then with her legs, all her arms, she still can't get them. Mercedes adjusts her positioning on Athena's right-hand side in an attempt to put herself in between the ropes and Athena. But what ends up happening is one of the most impressive things I have seen two wrestlers do without breaking contact. Again, Athena and Mercedes end up just rolling over the bottom rope, tumbling to the floor, ending up in a statement maker by the TBS champion on the Ring of Honor women's champion on the ground. I honestly can't believe that they did this. This was insane. Like, it was already impressive, them, like, rolling through the ropes and, like, staying on the ramp. But in this way, they were, like, she was already in a choke. Brain is stopping, but we're carrying on. She was in a choke, people, and they rolled, but they stayed together, and then they ended up on the floor, but they were still together. And then when they stopped, she was still in the statement maker. Fucking hell. The ref is also like, yo, that was cool. But y'all got to get back into the ring, and starts counting them again. While Mercedes is just not caring and is just wrenching back on Athena's neck really, really hard. But eventually she has to let go in frustration because she doesn't want to lose this match to Athena. No way, no how. So Mercedes will then try to throw Athena into the ring to break the count. But Athena instead wants to throw Mercedes in to break the count. She shouldn't have done this, though, because now Mercedes is in the ring first. And as Athena tries to get back into the ring, she is kicked by Monet. Athena then is falling backwards, but she gets caught with her feet on the bottom rope. And now Athena is just dangling upside down. You with me? You kind of with me? So she's getting into the ring. And then Mercedes is like, fuck you, and she kicks her, and then she's all like, ah, but then like she flails, and then her footsies are like, whoop, with the bottom ring, beep. Okay, I think you're with me now. The CEO gets all cocky and takes a moment to taunt Athena with her thing, does, and then she tries to go for the stomp. Athena will avoid the contact, though, by leaning even further back, and Mercedes lands on her feet. Oh, you can see that she hurts her leg. I forget what that's called, but like, did it a lot when like you're a kid. You jump off something that's like too high, and then you'll fucking get that little like shooting pain up your feet. I think she got one of those. She was stumbling backwards towards Athena. Mercedes' head gets caught, and Athena brings her crashing down for a stunner. The TBS champion is now out, while Athena lays on her back, pleased but hurting. This match is already everything I wanted. Eventually, Athena gets up, and while still holding her jaw from that earlier statement maker, because, like I said, she was still in it while they were rolling to the ground, she slams Monet's face into the mat. A little bit of revenge, I think. Following a stumbling Monet to the barricades, Athena chops the TBS champion, making her feel a world of pain. Mercedes will pay her back, though, with a kick to the stomach and then giving Athena a nasty chop to the chest herself. Now, Mercedes might be a little thing, but she has still got some slap in that fucking chop. Mercedes throws Athena back into the ring and locks on a rear naked choke. Athena digs into her strength again and manages to stand up, keeping Monet on her back. She then drops down into a sitting position, and Monet gets hit with a jawbreaker. Athena attempts to seal the deal with a pin, but she just gets two. Athena stalks, hurting Monet because that jawbreaker was nasty, while the crowd, who have finally gotten over the large white man, start chanting CEO. Athena will be the one who ends up in a painful position, though. That CEO chant has really given some rev to Mercedes. She turns the tables on her by avoiding her incoming kick and taking advantage of Athena now hung up on the middle rope in the corner. She nails Athena with a double knees off the top rope. Mercedes pulls her into the middle of the ring because this time she wants to try and get a pin, but it's still only a two. Mercedes is frustrated. She is perplexed, hurting, and looking almost on the verge of tears, flabbergasted at what fuck she can do to try and get Athena down for this three. I mean, honestly, you're going to need to do a lot more than that. As both women get to their feet, Mercedes tries to take advantage of this by countering Athena as she flings Mercedes the fuck out of the ring through the ropes without wasting any time. Athena ramps up speed, missiles herself at Mercedes, and slams her back into the announce desk. That poor little announce desk. We'll get to that a little later, but that poor little announce desk. Also, that poor fucking back of Mercedes. Woof. Both wrestlers are laid out on the floor now, both in pain, both exhausted, after already throwing everything of themselves at each other for the past 9 minutes. It's only been 9 fucking minutes. The crowd have all come back together and they're now dueling it out with CEO and Fallen Goddess chants. I'm a happy girl. They get back in the ring. Athena and Mercedes stand forehead to forehead, daring each other to hit them. Mercedes is the first to lay in a stiff forearm, and Athena replies with a chest-collapsing returned forearm. Mercedes shrinks, and that echoes all the way around the venue. Mercedes crumbles to the floor. The two women then chop the living shit out of each other until Athena switches it up with some nice little kicks. She attempts a spinning lariat, but gets rocked by Mercedes instead, and it's now Athena who crumbles. The CEO and the Fallen Goddess then pull off an excellent series of counters out of a tombstone, which each were putting on to each other, which is an insane amount of strength. And then Monet just blows my mind and turns the entire fucking thing into a lung blower. Jesus Christ. Both women tried really hard to sabotage the counter attempts of each other, but the strength they both have managed to eventually get the other one up until Monet just goes, fuck you, you're just going to have a lung blower instead. The crowd are showing much appreciation for the amazing wrestling that we are being given from, honestly, the two of the top 10 women in wrestling right now. They take a little moy on the mat for some stamina recovery. Whew. Now would be an excellent time to use Brett Rope's of healing power, but I digress. Eventually, Monet gathers enough strength to roll over on top of Athena to try and get the pin, but Athena now has enough strength to kick out at that pin at 2. It was more of a statement than, I think, an actual real attempt. The camera zooms in on the TBS champion, and her face is showing all this annoyed and frustration and incomprehensible feelings of, maybe I'm not going to win this. Mercedes stands with, again, almost tears in her eyes as she looks over at the Owen Hart Cup. I just want to take this little moment to say that a lot of women wrestlers do, I mean, everyone respects Owen Hart, but a lot of women wrestlers, they feel like a real connection with Owen Hart. He was always really good in backstage with all like the women wrestlers and stuff. He was like a really good person for them to talk to and actually talk to them properly about their wrestling and stuff. Yeah. So there probably was like legit, emotional tears. Anyway, I'm digressing. Monet grabs the Forever Champ by the hair, drags her to the corner. That beautiful. Yeah, but I digress. Climbing to the middle rope, Mercedes goes for a swinging DDT. Athena blocks it, but as quick as a cat, Mercedes pushes off the rope and ends up landing the DDT. Athena cartwheels out of this, unintentionally though, using her head, but she still manages to get to her feet, and she tries to yoink Mercedes for perhaps a side slam, but the owner of the 4 belts and the 4 boats adjusts for a tilt-a-whirl DDT that plants Athena head first into the mat like a boost. DDTs were always one of my favorite, it used to be like a finisher back in the day when I was first watching wrestling. Good old Jake the Shake. Jake the Shake. Shake your Jakes with the snake. Yeah, it's not now, but like that matters. Things evolve, things grow. Mercedes rolls Athena on her back for the pin, and Athena still kicks out at 2. She's badass. She does not call herself the Forever Champ for nothing. The crowd have now stood, and they are standing in awe of this battle. We zoom back in on the TBS champion because her face is fucking gold, and she genuinely looks like she wants to crawl into bed and hide under the covers for a little bit. This is all getting a little bit too real for our TBS champion. The crowd chant, "This is awesome," and Mercedes is like, "You're right. I am awesome. And Athena finally starts moving after using up a lot of hard-going energy kicking out of that bloody pin. It's Mercedes who gets to her feet first, and she not so kindly helps the Ring of Honor world champion to her feet by grabbing her bloody hair again. Mercedes puts Athena through the three amigos, which for those who do not know, for whatever reasons on this planet, the three amigos is the three suplexes done in a row without breaking contact with your opponent. Eddie Guerrero famously did this and is also famously a massive influence on our Miss Monet. I've mentioned Eddie Guerrero before in episode 1 as being the other half of my favorite China storyline of ever. He is also one of my favorite wrestlers ever when he was alive. I mean, when he passed, it was very, very sad. It was him, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, DDP, Rey Mysterio, and Chris Benoit. In men's wrestling, those were my top. And speaking of Mr. Benoit, this episode I'm going to talk a little bit about woman here and there, aka Nancy Benoit. In this episode, not as a dedicated segment. I'm trying something a little new this episode because she just kind of came to me very, very naturally as I was writing this. So she's now on my mind and is going to be in and out of the story as she connects. Woman was a great presence in wrestling. She was of Italian descent. For some reason, I thought she was Hispanic. But she was of Italian descent. A woman of many names. She was excellent at screaming at opponents and also fans from ringside. She was really great at mean mugging the camera during promos, especially when she was woman. For the Four Horsemen, at a time when women in wrestling were kind of either when she was the fallen angel, there were a lot of girl next door kind of women in wrestling, but they were just kind of the woman with the teased hair and whatever she was wearing. They weren't really character, but Nancy really got character with it. And she's just brilliant. She's just absolutely brilliant. I loved her look as a fallen angel. I loved her look in everything, and we'll be bringing her up a little bit later, but not about what you think. Why? Athena has taken advantage of Monet's titty shimmering in Eddie appreciation and deadlifts her up multiple times for power bombs. Woo! The crowd are on their feet as she positions Mercedes up for the despicable knee, which is one of her finishes. But she has taken a moment to absorb the crowd, which is usually Mercedes' mistake. And once Mercedes is up on Athena's shoulders, she wriggles and counters, bringing Athena's back crashing down onto her knees. Ugh. Athena crumbles in pain, but so does Monet. It was a risky move to use her own knees in such a way, this deep into a match. Both wrestlers are down on the mat and they are trying to replenish their health bars, stamina bars, boost bars, fucking everything before the other one can. Once both wrestlers do get back to their feet and start laying into each other, it's just with everything they have left in them, and it's actually surprisingly quite a lot. Monet gets Athena with a good elbow shot, and when she sees the opening, Mercedes just keeps reining them in, beating Athena down to the mat. Why Mercedes lets her ego take control after this, though, is beyond me, because stopping to bask in the glory of the fans gives Athena all the opening she needs to grab Monet, lift her up in a fireman's carry, and drops her down to the mat with a Death Valley driver. Athena pounces on and rolls Monet up for the pin, but it is only a 2. She got away with it. The TBS champion put all of her body into that kick out, though. She just ends up continuing to roll out of Athena's grasp, which is fair. We focus in on Athena, and she is literally full of rage. I'd be like, eek! Mercedes is seeking refuge in the corner, but Athena just stalks right up to her. They both are physically fucked, but they are both still on an even level, and they fight between themselves in trying to get the upper hand while the crowd are just cheering them on with dual chants. Athena dumps Monet into the corner again and takes the run up for her knockout back elbow. Mercedes is still quick though, and she avoids contact. Athena then goes straight through and takes a hit from the ring post, and now she is limp and hanging on the middle rope. Mercedes has sprinted to the ropes and back and cannonballs her knees into the side of the Forever Champ's head. And she just goes crashing to the floor as the entire crowd let out a collective, "Oh!" I do love how that's like the collective, like, "Whoa!" It's not even a whoa. It's always a, "Oh!" It's the simple things. Mercedes is buggered and uses the top rope to keep herself up while Athena crawls around the ring and lifts her battered body onto the apron. Not battered as in like a battered sausage, battered as in, will this be the moment on the danger zone? Perhaps, because we're on the apron. Mercedes wants to suplex the life out of Athena and also potentially herself, though at this moment Monet's top concern is not herself. She is hanging off of the Ring of Honor champion, who is gripping onto the ropes and planting her feet on that apron to stop herself from crashing backwards onto the floor with this nasty fucking suplex that the TBS champion is trying to enforce on her. Mercedes has lost her grip on the ring, and she does this amazing little adjustment by hooking her foot on the bottom rope. She then uses Athena's like strong stance for planting herself there and not flying down, and her own amazing cool strength, pulls herself back up into position on the apron, and then just instantly goes back to trying to suplex Athena down to the floor. Woo! Making sure her feet are well and truly planted this time. Athena eventually pulls Mercedes back in, and Mercedes' plan is temporarily thwarted. Mercedes then gets all fancy and waist locks Athena, flips over and lands on the floor, now trying to powerbomb the woman to the floor. Mercedes cannot beat the power of Athena's grip on the ropes. She tries to use her feet to break their little hold. Woman is fucking tarantulaing herself all the way around. Athena takes this little gift though of a foot and traps it underneath her arm. Athena now has control over Mercedes, and she drops her onto the apron and then stomps the living fuck out of her before letting out a battle cry of frustration to the cheering crowd, because that must have been so much fucking she must have had to use so much strength to keep herself from fucking power. She just saw the life fly. See, I'm getting flustered. We're just moving on. They keep playing on the apron, though, which is always concerning. And soon, Athena finds herself in the unenviable position of a backpack. And it's like, Mercedes, yo, what are you planning on doing? Are you seriously going to put the moneymaker on Athena, who's then going to land on the ground? As we have mentioned in previous episodes, from the ground to the ground to the top of the ring is like, what was it? What was it, people? Was it 4 feet? It was about 4 feet. The moneymaker, no, I don't think so. Athena's like, how to the fucking no, lady, and utilizes the ropes to help her shimmy out of it, and then pump kicks Mercedes in the tits. Athena then shows off her genius and slips through the ropes. Mercedes pulls Mercedes in by her gear and then uses that middle rope to assist her in pulling off a brutal scoop slam onto the apron, which, as we all know, people, is the hardest part of the ring. Mercedes drags No, Athena drags Mercedes' seemingly dead corpse into the ring, pins her, but Monet randomly comes back from the dead at 2. We focus now on Athena's face, and it's now raining the gauntlet of emotions, finally landing back on Mad. Wrapping Monet's arm within her legs, Athena locks in the crossface submission. Back to you-know-who. Athena is wrenching on her neck, but Mercedes is still thinking, and she flips her body over Athena's in an attempt to break out or maybe even counter. It won't work at first, though, but eventually Mercedes does turn the tables on Athena, but she doesn't have that choke locked in. Athena will shift her weight on Mercedes, and she's now pinned her to the mat. Mercedes will have to let go of this semi-choke to break out of this pin. Athena will try to hit her finisher, the despicable knee, again, but Monet wriggles again, and she is free and sends her into the corner. Athena crashes into the turnbuckles chest first and is fooked. Mercedes turns Athena around and for a chop. But Athena is like, yeah, nah, yo, and quickly flips it around and gives Mercedes the hard chop to the chest. And now Monet is the one fooked in the corner. Athena puts everything into that chop, and Monet now gasps for air. Athena finally manages to successfully hit the despicable knee on the TBS champion. But instead of being able to capitalize, Mercedes takes a big gulp of nope and rolls her ass out of the ring to safety. Athena's all, damn you, and snares down at Monet. Athena goes to the floor and lines up Monet. She sprints at her, but Mercedes sidesteps and shoves Athena into the barricades with a soul-crushing crash. Mercedes is still holding onto the back of her head, and we pan over to Athena, who is laying in a heap of camera cables, looking up at the world of hurt, but she also has kind of a sense of enjoyment on her face. Wrestlers start to utilize more of their surroundings when it starts to become obvious that their finishers alone are not going to get this win. There is a thicker LED barricade that has what looks like about 15 centimeter wide ledge that the wrestlers like to use sometimes to run on and shit. Mercedes plonks Athena onto this, and then Athena hefts Mercedes onto the fence up there with her. I don't think that's exactly what Mercedes had in mind. The two women look at each other and they're like, are we going to do this? And they're like, well, fucking well, we're here. And they just, woo! And they stand up so everyone can see them, and they just start slapping the living shit out of each other. Athena lifts Mercedes up and attempts to slam her down to the ground, but Monet adjusts and she lands on her feet. Athena then flies at her for a crossbody, but she misses. She ninja rolls, though, and she gets onto her feet. Mercedes is now standing in front of the LED fence and is soon planted against it from a drop kick by Athena that then breaks the LED screen, and it never quite recovers for the rest of the show. Woo! Athena rolls Mercedes into the ring, and then she climbs to the top rope. She flies at Mercedes for the O-face and gets half of it, but Monet, very talentedly blocks her from completing the move, and then she quickly rolls Athena up for an extremely cheeky roll-up because this chick grabs Athena's tights, which is not legal, and she gains the successful pin. We will definitely be seeing this play out again, my dear sickos. Oh, yes, indeed. That was not done clean. The CEO gets her exhausted ass out of that ring as quickly as possible because she knows what the fuck she just did. As Athena screams her disbelief while still in the ring. Having her arm raised, her music blasting, and the crowd cheering brings the CEO we all know back to life, and you can see her expression change from the holy fuck to, oh, thank you, yes, I am the best in the world, no flies on me, give me my belts. And then the strings of magnificence ring out into the arena, and we pan up and see our AEW World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm, giving these two wrestlers a standing ovation, whilst her butler and the beautiful trans flag and some very adorable stuffed animals stand proudly behind her. The crowd are again chanting, "Holy shit," because she's just appeared out of nowhere. Athena snatches her belts off the ref, and we fade to the back. That is going to haunt Monet. Just saying, that little tight grab, that is not going to do well for her like she thinks it will. It was a fucking good match, by the way. I got really excited. Did you tell? Could you tell? I got a little flustered with it. Tried to bring it back, but we're good. You know me. This is episode 9 by now. If you're still here, you know what we do. We are now in the back. And the remarkable Renee Paquette is getting the scoops from a Hangman Adam Page. But they are soon interrupted by the EVPs and Okada for a bit of a chin wag. Nicholas's V-neck is heading towards the danger zone, and Jackson has some spicy things to say about the Death Riders and Mr. Mox himself, and you can bet your ass I am watching Renee's face like a hawk, and she is giving me all sorts of ammunition for my files of suspiciousness. Now, Renee, you know I love you. But you are one of the best to do it. Sorry, I said that a little threatening. You're gorgeous and you always look individually you. But Mrs. Mox, questions. Christians need answers. And my dear, I have many. But that's just between me and the show. Moving on. After a few breaks in the men's Owen Cup match, we fade into a promo by the wonderful little Nick Wayne from the Patriarchy. We only care because we have Mother Wayne, and she is standing behind her son and next to the wonderful Kip Sabian, husband of the super bad girl. Mother Wayne is elegant and poised in her red business jacket and black mesh turtleneck, which is a choice, not being just because for me, mesh, like, I like the look of it, but when you go to wear it, it's all like can't wear it for long. But you do you, Missy. It looks great, perfectly matching her red lipstick to her jacket, which is very well done. Christian Cage comes back, woo, and things get a little bit spicy. Moving on. MJF wanted to have even more women on this Dynamite by bringing out 7 or 8 sex workers, all in black. Woo! This for me is this for me personally, all these women in black, or is it for the Hurt Syndicate? Yeah, I'm not too sure who all these women are, but you know, in real life, usually it's like local wrestling talent or something, so it's not real sex workers, people. It's okay. But I did actually find out that one of them in my little sleuthing, I didn't actually sleuth, she posted about it herself. She used to be on NXT as Sloane Jacob, if anyone knows her, and she is now back under her indie name of Notorious Mimi, which is a cool name. It's way more wrestling than Sloane Jacob. Sloane Jacob sounds like, I don't know, someone who sings cabaret or something. Well, not cabaret, like a singer. Notorious Mimi sounds like a wrestler. Moving on. By the way, I'm not putting any stink on the sex, adult sex industry at all. It's legal here in New Zealand. So I'm it's a business. Moving on. The Death Riders are here for their trios match against the Ops. So that means we get Marina Shafir. She is stalking around the ring as tradition, but will eventually get physically involved by taking out Powerhouse with a knee. Well, Powerhouse's knee from behind with one of those chop things. Little fucking bitch. The dastardly problem of the Death Riders proudly gives to the fingers to all the fans in attendance after doing this. Little shit. Near the end of the match, Mox starts to get real frustrated, like beyond belief, and thinks, he can bring a steel chair into this match without any repercussions at all. Well, he got some repercussions in the form of the hero of the locker room, Willow, who came out and popped the fucking crowd hard. She runs straight to the ring, no fear, yoinks that chair right out of Moxley's hands. He turns around like, what the fuck? And the hero of the locker room gives him a stiff fuck you middle finger to the face. I say again, give me my last man standing match between Moxley and Willow right now. He turns her. Oh, Willow takes that steel chair away and she sticks around ringside while the men do wonderful, beautiful dancing of violence. Marina gets involved again with a hard chair spot to Hobbs' back, but the man didn't move. Willow was moving, though, at quite the speed, and she running lariats Marina right out of her muscular skin. Eventually, the good guys win. We have a mini celebration in the ring. Oh, because they won the trios titles, by the way. Woo! We have new champs, Scrit, Bruv, Mr. Knight, and Nana, AR Fox, Alex Reynolds, and Evil Uno, a ragtag crew of all the good folk, come out, and champagne is wasted all over the place, and it all ends on happy little, good note. Yay! Good guys win night 1 of Spring Breakthrough. Moving on to night 2, aka Collision, and we are in the same place, of course. Different matches. Saturday night is still on, even though it may be a Thursday and or a Friday, and I am here for it. It being on Friday was very exciting because that means I got to watch it live. We have a tag match tonight, and for the 4th, I'm pretty sure it's 4th week in a row, it's the main event, and it's the women's match. My girl, Julia Hart, is teaming up with Chris Statlander, and they, excuse-moi, facing 4 belts, Monet and Harley Cameron. But while this is being announced, Marina Shafir appears on stage and interrupts the whole shebang, yelling something in Moldovan Romanian, beats the crap out of some chick who's just doing her job. Marina, dressed all in black, you will see that there is a theme here, and I am very much like it. She staunches out another woman in black, the beautiful ring announcer, Akadi Ora. I apologize. I'm really trying to get that name into my... And she yoinks the microphone out of her hands very rudely. The rest of the Death Riders storm ringside and they just start smashing shit in a violent temper tantrum. Fucking Yuta yells at the crowd while they mock Mox with a "you passed out" chant, which is hilarious because he was the one that actually lost the trios champions for everybody. Sidebar. I'd like to shout out the ring dingy ding chick who I can tell doesn't want to be on camera because she's always like, if she ever like even thinks that she is just and like that's fair. And considering I have noticed this though, considering she does change her hair to like different colors all the time, bless her heart, I feel like she has been there. I'm pretty sure she has been like ring dinger from like word go. But even though she's got all this bright hair, her skills and style are very, very top notch. But she's woman's, and I just wanted to shout her out because she's been there for ages. So yeah, hi ring dinger chick, I see you. But don't worry, I won't bring any attention to you. Mox delivers his speech, blah, 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 Death Riders fuck off, yada, yada, yada. After the Jet defeats the Murder Hawk, we fade in from the break and are graced by the presence of 3 gorgeous ladies, one of whom is on my sus list, as you know. Goddamn fucking charismatic and cute Renee, fucking cute with her blonde hair all straight this evening, and she has paired her. I love her, but she's in the most hideous chaps in the entire world, and a cream jacket. The others are the fabulous Chris Statlander and the very impressive Jamie Hayter. Chris is all gorgeous in a cute Renaissance halter neck top thing and green cargo pants, dark purple lipstick, which always looks good on her. Her complexion with like her dark hair at the moment with like the blonde and then like the purple she puts on. Mwah, gorgeous. Her face is set in a mask of serious now. Oh, though. Ha! Jamie is gorgeous gorgeous and snug in her big blue coat, 70s knickerchief around her throat, her white tank top and white jeans just help to pop the I am going well today. Vibrant colour of Hayter's orange hair. Her face is set in smug. These two face each other in the semis of the Owen Cup, which are going to be held in Dynamite, which is in New Orleans. New Orleans. Either. No, actually, no, I know it's not either. Either to which one I said. They are two strong as fuck wrestlers who are both also former TBS champions. No, or former champions. Jamie Hayter is a former world champion. And Chris Statlander is a former TBS champion. Definitely future world champion, that's fucking sure. They are cordial to each other. There is definitely some respect between the two, but it gets real intense as they both get real close to each other. Ooh. We end the promo and we fade out to the ring. After a tag match that sees Rocky Romero turn on Tomohiro Ishii, the fucker, we shoot to the back to another all-in-black queen, Lexi Nair. I am instantly distracted, though, by the giant black rose she wears around her throat, but we'll try not to focus on that. As she announces that for Belts Monet, the CEO, Mercedes Monet, is here, and we swoop to the right to see that the TBS champion is in a glorious mood and is already dancing. Lexi chatters on about her defeat of Athena with that illegal tight pull, by the way, which she does not mention, but never mind, and her upcoming match between either Jamie Hayter or Chris Statlander. At the mention of their names, Monet's face quickly changes to real intense, but just for a second before wiping the worry away with a quick dig at Stat. But who is this? It's Minnie Monet! She was a bit late to set because Harley takes so long to get ready, but she is here and she is ready to be interviewed. Monet takes me completely by surprise by actually interacting with her Muppet persona, and may I say, it even seems like she might be coming around to this little version of herself. Still, she has disdain for the wonderful Harley Cameron, unfortunately, who is looking stunning in all black with some leopard print. But still, my all black wearing queens are being represented here. Even if it is just for an episode of Collision, I am loving the sisterhood. Okay, I have always felt uncomfortable wearing colour, myself, in real life. I, from a little tiny child, have always wanted to only ever wear black clothing, but when you're not in charge of purchasing your own clothing, you get what you're given. As an adult, I tried to incorporate colours into my, thing, because I had an impression that maybe you should. But as soon as I got way older and am well truly in myself now, I'm like, it's all black every day, and I love it. I feel myself now. So hence why I am just gushing over all these women in all black. It's just brilliant because this all just happens to be on this one episode, and it's just awesome. Speaking of feeling herself, Minnie Monet is a natural in front of the camera. Ever since a real child, ever since I was a real child, without getting too deep, I have always developed deep emotional attachments to my stuffed toys. So when Minnie Monet goes right up to the camera and she says, "See you tonight," lying with her cute little face that just stares at me through the screen, that little kid inside of me was like, "I love you, Minnie Monet." Yeah. A stupid little puppet face, but fuck, I love it. It was a really, really great promo, and it added more to the Cameron Monet and Minnie Monet's like relationship storyline that's going on here. It was freaking adorable. Very, very wholesome. AEW's first pay-per-view was Double or Nothing in May, and it has been held in Las Vegas twice. It was meant to be every year though, but the whole like virus thing spreading around the world, changing everyone's life thing, for some for good, some for bad, was going on. So they had to do the two that they were meant to be doing in Las Vegas in the wonderful Daly's place. So did they go back to Las Vegas last year? I think they may have gone back to, yeah, I think they did. Yeah. This year though, Double or Nothing is going to be in this very fancy sounding place called the Desert Diamond Arena in like Glendale, Arizona. And I am really happy that it's not in Las Vegas this year, because from this humble Kiwis crowd opinion, Vegas sucks. They're like always trying to get themselves over. I'm being very like blanket here. They're always like seem like they're being like real snobby, like it's something like fucks up, then they're all, oh, and they're like on it flat. That was a great fucking screen grab there. They're like, I know this is a complete blanket statement, but when it comes to crowds, this is the kind of statements you're going to get. But no, I've never liked the crowd in Las Vegas. They always make me feel sad. The reason why I bring this up is because we got a promo for the up-and-coming pay-per-view. And that will be where the Owen Hart Cup winner will be crowned. Bloody Sunday pay-per-view, which is so fucking rude. So no watching it live for this pickle. But you can bet your little toots that I'll be muting the Discord, locking down the socials, and watching it after work, baby. It's also the weekend of the second session of my chat. Ooh. So I may be slightly in Swollen Hand City. It might be a little bit of a loosey-goosey episode that week. Maybe we can get a guest. Maybe we can shoot the shit about Double or Nothing or something, because I don't know how much I'm going to be able to write. But it'll be fun. I'll work my way around it. It'll be brilliant. So I'm very much looking forward to Double or Nothing in May. Woo! Speaking of swelling, Megan Bain's music hits and she walks out onto the stage with my girl, Penelope Ford. Megan is in her white and china blue gear with the gold detailing, white robe and matching headdress. Penelope is in a deep purple bustier. I'm so glad I know that word now, because that's all she fucking wears. With pink flowers on the bosom and her kick-ass black PVC pants. And as she walks past the camera, you can hear Ford telling the two women in the ring, "Oh, you girls are in for a treat." And I like to think she's talking about us. Ford's hair is ridiculously cute right now. It's in like two half ponies with these little like bumped out bits, and I absolutely fucking love it. Megan, of course, is majestic. Her opponents this evening are a Rebecca Scott and Ashley Vox. Here is what we learned about these ladies. Rebecca Scott has been an active wrestler for like 4 years. She's from Idaho, which I love to pronounce Idaho. She is the first ever Uprising Alternative Champion for Uprising Women Athletes, which is an all-woman sister promotion out of La Salle. Oh dear. La Salle? No, that can't be right. L-A-S-A-L-L-E, Illinois. Ooh, sorry. To an indie promotion, Dreamwave Wrestling. Ashley Vox, on the other hand, has been doing this for like 11 years. Vox is from Providence, Rhode Island. I can say that a lot easier. And she has been on AEW a few times as a singles wrestler, but also with her like for real younger sister, Dalmi Exo. Together, they make the tag team Sea Stars, which you may remember. They are the current record holders for the longest reign as Shimmer's tag champions with 730 days. Impressive. Ashley Vox has also fought Bear Country and won. She's faced off against Chelsea Green. She's faced off against Daniel Garcia. She faced off against Chris Statlander in a last creature standing match in Limitless Wrestling, which I hear is really, really amazing. And she's even faced Megan Bayne before in Beyond Wrestling. Speaking of Megan Bayne, she and Penelope Ford are in the middle of the ring, in the middle of one of my favorite in-ring poses at the moment, and my attention is snapped back into place, respectfully. Ford then helps out of her robe, and you can see Scott and Vox in the background to try and give each other like words of encouragement. Because they're about to double team on Bayne straight away, because this is just what it's going to be. Ain't no tagging in, it's just like two women on Bayne, boobity boo. Both of them like nail Bayne really well with a double drop kick, and when they lay into her while she's leaning on the ropes, you're like, yeah, fucking go. They are doing well, but they fuck up when they go to whip Bayne, and instead of her getting whipped, they both get bonked together. Megan Bayne then fucking suplexes these two wrestlers at the same time. Holy flying fraggles, people. It was a thing of beauty. They land in a heap and get she gets straight to her fucking feet. She powers up her beautiful big bulging Bayne muscles and murders Vox with two heavy consecutive power bombs. Bayne plants her corpse firmly on the mat with a running sit-down powerbomb just to finish her all off. Megan then lines up Scott, lets out a chilling battle cry, and just plows through Scott like a bazooka with a lariat. Megan Bayne picks up Rebecca Scott's limp-ass body, slams her down onto the half-dead Ashley Vox, and we get quite a sexy pin for the 1 and the 2 and the 3. Bayne wins her second 2-on-1. Quicker than the first one, I think. This one, I mean, I really, really appreciate Vox and Scott's, like, let's just fucking, like, drop kick her. Maybe next time don't go for a whip. As her epic music blasts into the venue, the crowd cheers. Megan lifts her defeated prey by the hair to their knees, states very loudly, "Bow down!" and slams them face first down onto the mat, as is tradition now. Penelope raises her arm in victory. Megan's, not her own. Well, she is kind of, but it's not her victory. And before we fade to a promo, Bayne stalks down the camera ringside and she delivers a line. They will all bow down. She don't speak much, but she makes statements. Later on, we get a brief visit again from that dastardly little Marina Shafir as the Death Riders come out to stop Claudio from destroying even more of the collision set. We even see Marina trying to woosa Claudio down with some slow breathing. Fucking hilarious. Now I like to think this is Laura and she's just like the to like everyone who's like just going crazy. Either that or like Claudio's usually the one going ooh, and she's like, fuck, I gotta do this on him now. Lexi and her giant black flower are back to interview Big Bill and Brian Bad Apple Keith. Sidebar, Race is back! Woo! Roosh! All right, moving on. Renee and her cream jacket are now back, and they are having a yarn with the Jet, Kevin Knight, and the Speedy Boy until they are all interrupted by Ricochet. They mock his baldness, and at the end, Renee flicks her hair, and she leaves Ricochet standing there, jaw agape. We spy Mother Wayne with the patriarchy. And they are applauding the young Nick Wayne because he has just won his Ring of Honor World Television Championship. We are quickly moving on to the beautiful Layla Gray, who is also dressed in black. This is a fabulous leather look, and she just looks fucking fabulous. Her hair is also in like some half ponytails, but because it's like full of volume, it's just like, she is just looking amazing, and I love Layla Gray, which is why I just had to mention her here. She doesn't do anything apart from just looking amazing, and she's there for her boys, but and she's all in black, like I say. The sisters in black are with me this evening. The world now goes grey, but our hearts are full of rainbows because timeless Tony Storm, our world champion, is here, followed closely by an impeccably dressed Luther. Our champion is adorned in gloves, pearls, and is wearing a pin-up babe style red dress with red polka dots. Red polka dots? No, black polka dots. It's red with black polka dots. Blah. Timeless gets into the ring and she dances around on the mat in her uniquely timeless way. She loses a shoe, so watch out. There's a shoe on the loose, people. Luther carries our champion to her seat, and after some smooches with the commentary team, we shoot backstage because Statlander's we shoot back to the stage because Statlander's music's hit and our other big muscle babe poses in the blue light. She shows us the guns, points to the Owen Hart Cup, and walks to the ring. Chris is gorgeous in green, and she does her little poses in the ring, which also does a little bit of this now. The opening riffs of Julia's harp music hits, and my smile instantly grows wider as the world goes red. We fade to Julia standing in her spotlight, and I don't think I've noticed this before, but she now walks to the center of the stage, and a spotlight turns on with every step and fades behind her. Live in sin, the heart always wins. Fire. What? This is the first. What? Where's my fire? This is the first time I've actually noticed that there is no fire during these episodes. Must be a venue thing, so that gets some points taken off the venue for that because we need a fire. Julia does her awesome pose in her long baggy pants and the gear that I love, and she looks like she's floating, and it's so fucking cool. But she is interrupted with the sounds of the CEO Mercedes Monet's music, and once again, Boston. Mercedes comes out with all of her belts, her long fucking red fluffy CEO coat with the chains is back, and she bounces in her CEO dance, a big smile beaming across her face. She has forgotten all about that match with Athena and how she almost fucking almost lost like a million times. Her confidence is back, and it's all good. And then you just see cute little Harley come and zoom in from behind her to join her in her little dance. Mercedes' face instantly changes to annoyance when she sees her. Because Harley Cameron's name is announced, and she's like, really? That's so rude, because Harley is just happy to be here. And I'm with you, Harley. I'm fucking excited and happy to be here as well. The world champion is on commentary with the other Tony and Nigel. They still have no desk after the whole Claudio fiasco, but the show must go on. Nigel is already getting sassy with the champ, and we get a beautiful shot of the Timeless One's legs. Thank you very much. The bell rings, and it's the current TBS champion versus the former TBS champion who first lock up. Stat uses her power, and she flings Mercedes off her and into the corner. Harley's like, you want to tag me in? And Mercedes takes the offer. Once Harley feels the power of Stat, though, she herself retreats to the corner, but who's she gonna tag in? Mercedes is like, but she has another opponent. It's Minnie motherfucking Minnie! Will she be making her ring debut today? Yes! Apparently she is. I didn't even know she could wrestle. She gets the tag from Harley, and Monet is like, what the fuck, yo? You've like completely lost it now. Harley mercilessly throws the rookie Monet in her debut match right at Stat, who catches her, and then she throws her to Julia, and then the poor little helpless mini Monet, who's just trying to make a start in life, gets stumped and kicked off the apron by Julia. She will now have to have some long recovery after that one. She was a sacrificial lamb, and Harley tries to take advantage of this distraction with a cheeky little roll-up, but Stat don't budge, and she grabs Harley's arm. Eventually, Harley will get Chris down for a pin, but Stat easily kicks out at 2. I'm sure she could have easily kicked out of 1, but she was just trying to, boost Harley's ego a little bit. Plus, we just can't just gloss over the fact that Harley sacrificed Minnie Monet just like that. Abuse! Anyway, the two start going at it again, and Harley finally does actually get Stat off her feet properly now with a round-the-world spinning head scissors takeover, and Chris tries to gather herself in the corner afterwards. Harley yells, "Feel the wrath!" as the world champion calls all the roster a bunch of slop tarts again, which is basically like calling them bogan gyaro girls on the pool at the end of a night out, and they're all ordering a kebab at the shop whilst yelling at Stacy to give her back her phone because she's trying to call Hayden. Harley finds no one waiting for her in the corner, but manages to elbow an incoming Stat who crumbles over the middle rope, and then she just gets powerbombed into a pin by Cameron, which was very, very, very impressive. But Stat will kick out too. I think that was actually a for real too that time. Good playing, Harley, but you're going to have to do more than that. Stat makes Harley pay with a kick to the gut, and then she gets suplexed with a beautiful delayed suplex, and then afterwards we get treated to another little gun show. Chris grabs Harley's arm and tags in Julia, who then takes over control of said arm. Now, I am so sorry to get distracted by the Timeless One and her commentary again, but she gives Nigel a stern warning, and we pan perfectly to the announce team. And since there's no table, due to Claudio's temper tantrum, we get a perfect shot of Tony, who smugly turns in his chair to face Nigel with a satisfied take that look on his face, and that just killed me because it was hilarious. Does everyone remember when Tony was so good at his job that his facials actually made some of the AEW haters truly think that he hated being there? Moving on. She still has Cameron's arm, this is Julia, and is making her way to the top rope. She walks the top rope and then clubs down on Harley's back with a fucking heavy shot that drops her down. Julia goes for a pin, and Mercedes must have been really worried about this one because she zooms into the ring, boots Julia in the head, and breaks up the pin. Now, this kind of maneuver... okay, I've really got to stop trying. I've really got to get that out of my fucking head, because every time I use that fucking word, I hear V Diddy's fucking voice in my head every time, and it's not the voice I want in my head ever. While we're on it, I thought he was such a shit commentator when he was doing it for the WWF. Oh my god, his vocal tone was so cringe, and he said the same shit over and over again, Little Bexy knew a cunt when she saw one, and him and Hulk were, and still are, walking billboard definitions of the word. But going back to Monet's breaking up with the pin, it's a grey area in tag matches, because the ref will be like, "Hey, what are you doing? Get out of here, you little scamp. You go to the corner, I'm going to count to 5. But they will never get disqualified for it or anything. Harley takes advantage of Julia's head being rocked and gives her a jawbreaker, followed by a step-up enziguri. Very smart. Julia is down, and Harley takes this opportunity to tag in the TBS champion. TBS champion runs right at Julia because she thinks she's got an opening. But Julia toe trips her, and then she gets her head viciously slammed into the mat repeatedly by Julia. Like after the toe trip, Mercedes is like landing right down, and like Julia just like what's that? Mounts her, and it's just like bow, 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 bow. Fucking hilarious. Hart pins her shoulders to the mat, but Monet kicks out at 2. She's got a very heavy head, does little Miss Monet. Mercedes goes to the corner, tries to recover from that very unexpected beating, but Julia will give her 0 time, and she slams a running lariat into her body. Julia runs to the corner where Stat tags in, but before Hart continues her move, and she slams a back elbow into the CEO's jaw. Stat comes in quickly and follows Julia's elbow with a knee and gives Mercedes a stiff one to the side of her head. Stat is having a lot of fun throwing Mercedes around, and after a lovely fall away slam where Chris basically flings a human over her head and they have nowhere to go but down, we get another gun show for being such great fans. Stat. Mercedes retreats to the floor and tries to sweep Stat's legs out from under her, but Chris counters this with a handstand, and the 2 wrestlers do a beautiful dance of attempted battery before stopping in mid-fight. Just as they are about to punch each other's lights out, they both stop, turn, and look at the world champion. Or is it her gold they are admiring? Or both. They both point to the title anyway. And the world champion holds on to her title and just looks at them like, okay, carry on, woman. The gall of the other enrages them both, and they almost knock each other out with some stiff fucking forearms. Julia and Harley are now coming around on the ground to take the opposition out. But Chris and Monet throw them both off and turn back to one another. They are focused, still on the floor and in front of the destroyed commentator's area. The ref is yelling, "Get back in the ring!" But they're like, "Yeah, nah, get fair," and start laying into each other while holding onto each other's head for maximum impact. Kind of what I think is like described as like hockey fighting, although I think they hold on to like the jersey and they're like bang, 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 but they're like holding on like the back of their head. And bang, 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 bang. It stopped abruptly by a knee to the gut from Stat, and Mercedes doubles over. That was a bit of a surprise. The ref is still yelling, "Get in the motherfucking ring," and Stat is like, okay, and kindly obliges by carrying Monet over to the ring and then drops her face first onto the apron. Mercedes gets even more humiliated by Stat when she finds herself underneath the boot of Statlander. She shimmies her little hips and she starts mocking the CEO with her own dance. The crowd erupt into cheers, but the ref is like, "Yo, get in the fucking ring, maybe?" I just saw him. He was just pointing, but whatever. It worked. And Chris finally rolls the CEO's body back into the ring. Like I said, these refs, they do a good job, but they're a little loosey-goosey sometimes, but it's okay. Who am I to judge? Well, I am the one to judge. Moving on. Stat goes for the pin, but it is a no, as Mercedes kicks out at 2 with some attitude. Her face says it all. She is fucking miffed by all this disrespect. Monet doesn't have long to be anything, though, before she is being dragged to the corner containing a Julia Hart, and Stat tags her in. Hart continues the beatdown on Monet, but she will eventually get whipped into the corner, counted, and now Julia is in the compromising position by being hung across the middle ropes. Mercedes takes back her control with a hanging double knee and drops down on Julia's midsection while the Timeless One celebrates her vagina joke milestone. Mercedes goes for the 3, but Julia kicks out at 2. YOSH! Mercedes lands another double knees to Julia with a running meteor. She really loves these double knees off the ropes, and then she goes for a rather delusional looking pin that gets a very rightly only gets a 2. don't know what she was all like, yes, this is the pin, going for the 3. What? She kicked out at 2? Fucking Delulu land sometimes. To make herself feel even better, Mercedes glares at Stat and then mocks Julia as she reaches out for the tag. The TBS champion decides to help the former TBS champion to get to the corner, but it's the opposite corner from the one that she wanted to get into, and Monet tags in Harley. Monet then traps Julia's arms and Harley boots her hard in the stomach. A few more kicks from Harley and Julia goes down. Harley drags her back to her feet and whips Hart into the ropes. Julia catapults back into a stiff lariat from Cameron. Harley goes for the pin after this, but she is unsuccessful. Harley is slow to resume after the pin for whatever reason, and Julia jumps on this opening by laying punishment into Harley's bod. It may have been maybe a bit of insecurity, perhaps. A series of hard chops to Harley's chest has her reaching out to Monet now. But with Harley being on the ropes, Julia only has a small amount of time before the ref starts his count of a warning. I got confused by my own words there, but she's chopping her on the ropes. That's why we're getting the count. While Nigel discusses the infection of chlamydia in koalas, which, by the way, is a real problem for blessed little koalas. It can make them blind, infertile, and can also kill them. And with climate change eroding their habitat, it may even contribute to wiping them out. It is thought to have come from the infected shit from sheep and cattle, which were brought over by the colonizers. And in my mind, because of how I feel about colonizers, there is only one way those animals got chlamydia in the first place. So thank you again, British Empire, in your colonizing fuckery, ruining the lives of centuries. Moving on! Julia and Harley run into each other's running lariats and they both go down. The crowd is trying to pump the downed wrestlers up to make the tag, and they both finally make it, bringing Mercedes and Statlander into the ring. They collide! Monet takes hold of Stat's arm and scampers up the ropes and brings Chris to the mat with a diving arm drag. It's back to Delulu land as the CEO dances her CEO dance because she's that chick. And she gets away with it too as she successfully lands another running Meteora. And it brings Stat to the middle of the ring where Mercedes then gives her the 3 amigos. And she quickly goes for a cheeky 4th amigo. Chris blocks it and lifts Monet up for a beautiful delayed suplex. Harley sees what's going on though and is quick to get into the ring to try and help her tag partner. The two attempt to try and double suplex Stat. But holy flying fraggles, people. Stat pulls out the power stats on this one and turns the suplex tables on Harley and Monet. Stat gives a 2-man 3 amigos to them both. And when I say it is a thing of beauty, this is no motherfucking reaction, because fuck me, this is something you need to watch if for some reason you have not. Watch it again. Even if you've already seen it, you will not be disappointed. I have seen big guys double suplex 2 wrestlers before, but I literally have never seen any wrestler give the 3 amigos to 2 wrestlers at the same time. Rolling through with each one, you never lose contact because that's the whole thing until the final suplex. Holy fucking shit. We're just going to take a little step out of kayfabe for a second. Bravo, ladies. All of you. Bravo to everyone. That was expertly done. I bet you guys were literally shitting yourselves because one small little slip of balance and the whole illusion is fucked. And a live audience can be kind of dickheady sometimes, and you've only got one chance to perform this in the ring. You can practice it a million fucking times, but lights and sweat and this and that, whatever else has gone on in the ring beforehand, there might be something spilt and it's like blah, 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 blah. So, my goodness, That was beautiful. Bravo. Back into the world of kayfabe, we scooped to the back. And even Jamie Hayter, who has been watching this match from the backstage, which is, quite smart since she's got to face him, is impressed and gives Chris the applause she deserves, whilst also acknowledging the fact that she will have to face that strength soon. And you do actually kind of see a little bit of like, holy shit, in Jamie Hayter's face. Chris stacks the TBS champion on top of Cameron, and the former TBS champion, Chris Statlander herself, goes for her beautiful 450 splash. She lands it tits down on the mat, though, because Harley and Mercedes have managed to expertly combine roll out of the way. There's a lot of combining rolling going on, and I'm loving it. They are still hurt, though, and now slightly dizzy, so do not notice that Chris has tagged out. And both of them get painfully pancaked by Julia Hart's standing moonsault. While Harley rolls out of the ring, Julia tries a swinging head scissors takeover, but it is stopped in mid-scissor by Monet, and she hangs Julia upside down in the corner for a Tree of Woe. Now, the Tree of Woe was popularized. Why can't I say that? Was made popular by Kevin Sullivan, who was Nancy Sullivan, a.k.a. Woman, a.k.a. Fallen Angel, a.k.a. Devil Woman's second husband before Mr. Benoit. Kevin was in lots of factions, and Woman was in a few famous ones herself. When Nancy was under the name Fallen Angel, she was in Sullivan's Satanists stable with Luna Vachon, and the two would reunite in Sullivan's stable Army of Darkness, which had many members, one of them being Jake before the Snake Roberts. As Woman in WCW, she was in the Four Horsemen as a valet and manager for 3 different lineups of the faction. And she was also in the hilariously official sounding Alliance to End Hulkamania in '96. Nancy came into WCW first as a Robin Green. She was a fanatic fan of Rick Steiner before that was all scrapped and she became Woman. Rick Steiner was in Kevin Sullivan's first faction with a certain Mike Rotunda called the Varsity Club. And this started a little side quest of pondering, which was not women's wrestling focused, I do admit, but please take a moment and come with me as I take you on a journey. I wanted to know more about Rick's time with the Varsity Club, because also back in the day, the Steiner brothers were like my favorite tag team, and when Scott turned on Rick, I was like legit sad. Because I honestly thought it was really interesting that he was active without his brother before all this, because I always thought that that they came in together. But I got stumped with my first question and then quickly got distracted by something else I read whilst trying to figure out the first conundrum. Spoiler, I'm still confused, but we're getting there. The Great American Bash Tour of '89, Rick Steiner and Mike Rotunda, representing the Varsity Club, were defeated in a tag match by the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott. I thought that was just me not reading it properly, because this does happen. But no, it was definitely the same Rick Steiner in both teams. I went to the page for the event, and that's when I got distracted again, because as I was scrolling the event to find out what the fuck was going on, I came across a tag match with the New Zealand Militia versus the Ding Dongs. Never mind the hilarity of the Ding Dongs. Who the motherfucker is New Zealand Militia? I had never heard of them. And I'm from New Zealand. Another tab opens, and I learned that it's the tag team of a Jacko Victory and a Rip Morgan, a.k.a. Bigfoot, a.k.a. Real Thing, a.k.a. Crusher. Now, Jacko Victory was from the U.S., but Rip Morgan was a 6'4" Kiwi from my fucking hometown. The pairing made absolutely no sense at all until I had read further on that Jacko was also once the flag bearer of the sheep herders, which then turned into the bushwhackers, and Rip Morgan had also been the flag bearer for the same team. And of course, that just caused more questions because I knew that the bushwhackers. Did you know that Butch is another hometown fella? He once went by the name of Nick Carter. And Luke went by the name of Luke Sweet William. Oh, and Luke went by Sweet William. Wrestling. Anyway, I'm getting like way sidebarred on my sidebar in a sidebar. I knew that bushwhackers, were once called the sheep herders. But then there was also this other sheep herders with Rip Morgan and the Jacko guy. And yeah, in fact, there were actually 2 teams called the Sheep Herders for a time in different promotions. Who knows? One with the team of Jonathan Boyd and Rip Morgan. For one time there was a Jonathan Boyd and Rip Morgan, and they switched between the sheep herders and the Kiwi sheep herders. Holy fucking hell, because, sheep, we've got a lot of them, so nah. Going back to the cooler name, though, of the New Zealand militia, Rip Morgan, Wellington boy, of giant proportions, teamed up with New Jersey's born Jacko Victory. But they kayfabed him as a Kiwi from Aotearoa. I'd like to see how that fucking worked out. Good thing they weren't on television, because I would fucking love to hear a guy from New Jersey in the 80s try and do a Kiwi accent. That'd be fucking hilarious. My goodness, I am well going off. I never did find out how Rick Steiner could have been in both of those teams in that tag match. We never found out. Now, I thought, getting back onto the subject and the subject within the subject, I always thought that Woman was only a manager and valet for her entire wrestling career. But I was really surprised to learn that she has actually wrestled a few times, with one of them, get this, being a no contest against Tommy Dreamer and Peaches. Her tag team was the Sandman. Ha! What the fuck? This time it was in a Singapore Canes match for ECW when Worlds Collide 94, which was their promos with NWA. Both of these matches were in 94. And her other match was a singles fight against Debbie Combs in a street fight. But she won by... Was she won by no DQ? Oh, it wasn't no DQ. Okay, I'll explain why this is a little bit confusing in my mind. Debbie Combs is a big woman, and she just ragdolls the Fallen Angel around the ring. Combs uses the Fallen Angel's clothing to choke her, because once again, it's like a falls count. No, not a falls count anywhere. It's basically a DQ match, but they called it something else, and it's just gone completely out of my brain. But it's basically a DQ match, but it kind of is. We're going to get there. The Fallen Angel tries to get back into the ring, but then Combs is just booting her out, and you think she's just going to give up, but she has the moxie, because the Fallen Angel is very petite, but she is just full of fucking rage and everything. She gets back into the ring to face the bigger opponent, but it soon becomes really clear why the Fallen Angel was so confident, and it isn't actually got anything to do with her self-confidence and her abilities to win the match. Because all of a sudden, Kevin Sullivan appears in the ring out of frickin' nowhere, because we are tight on this ring shot. So he literally comes out of frickin' nowhere. He takes out Debbie Combs. Combs takes a shoulder breaker from Sullivan, and the crowd are fucking booing. The Fallen Angel, by the way, is long gone. She got the fuck out of there as soon as Sullivan got in the ring. And this is what I'm saying. Even though it's not a DQ match, It's a DQ finish, and Debbie Combs wins due to the outside of interference. Now, I know I'm looking at this with like modern wrestling rules eyes, but if it's a no fucking DQ match, it shouldn't matter if there's interference. But I digress. Nancy Sullivan was so fucking cool as the fallen angel. She had massive dark hair. It was so fucking long, and it was like huge and wild and big. And I think that might have been why I thought she had Hispanic in her. I don't know why. You know, because they've always got very big curly hair. But then I guess so does the Italians. What do I know? She was always in black. We're coming round to the sea. It's a whole women in black episode. I myself, of course, am always in black. With an 80s gothic mixed with wrestling style theater makeup. She was always in whips and chains and lingerie, and she was sexy as fucking hell. When she evolved into woman, she was still a heel, but she was a sophisticated, I'll poison you after sex kind of. Sophisticated. She didn't she would say some things, but then like further on in her career she kind of became a little bit more silent and was just staring like this. And that is where I'm going to leave it, because we know what happens. Okay, we know what happens. I just wanted to concentrate on the woman. Speaking of woman who can probably whip up a poison potion, Julia is still in this tree of woe as Mercedes starts kneeing her in the abdomen, which is smart considering Julia's high level of core strength. Mercedes climbs to the top, props for a double stomp, but Julia engages that steel core of hers and pulls Mercedes down off the top rope, and she crashes to the mat with an almighty thud. Harley runs in to try and take advantage of Julia still being in that tree of woe. But once again, that core kicks in and Harley's back becomes just the thing Julia needs to roll herself out of this tree of woe. And Julia goes to knock Harley down with a lariat. But Harley blocks her arm, yoinks it, and then manipulates it over her head and slams Julia down with a lovely spinning neck breaker. She's really got that fucking down now. She's really good at that spinning net breaker. She gets her boots into the gut and then she gets a boot to the gut and a blue thunder bomb from Stat as her prize. And Chris gets her by way of flying, gets hers by way of flying Meteora from Monet. So Chris has come in to go lay in some boots to the Harley and a blue thunderbomb. But then Monet goes, well, if you're going to interfere, I'm going to interfere. And she gets her with a flying Meteora. Once again, these double knees with the Miss Monet. People should really work on those knees with Monet. Not that I wanted to be like injured or anything, but like smart strategy. Julia is up and has the TBS champion in her sights. Mercedes sees Julia too and goes to attack her first, but gets countered and Julia leg trips the champ. She's getting so good at those little leg traps. A boot to the gut to keep her down, and Julia climbs to the top rope for her glorious moonsault. Monet's dastardly knees get into the mix again, and Julia comes down on them jaw first. I at first thought maybe it was, sternum first, but it was jaw first. Eep. Stat and Harley have been scooted out of the ring by the ref, and now it's just the two legal wrestlers, Hart and Monet, who are currently taking a timeout on the mat, while the crowd are very rightly chanting that this is awesome. Chris is on her feet and she's reaching out to Julia, encouraging her to push through that pain and crawl towards her for the tag. It works! And Chris comes in strong and starts beating the crap out of the CEO. After giving Cameron a cheeky little forearm, Chris almost fucks herself when she lands a lariat and is blocked by Monet. Monet gets her in position for a money maker. Eek! But a very overpowered and very wriggly Stat gets out of it easily, and now Monet finds herself upside down. She knows that a Saturday Night Fever is coming and is not going to cooperate with this. Stat gets Monet up whilst in rotation out of the Monet maker, and Mercedes does everything she can to get Stat off balance. Mercedes is successful, but Chris has locked her hands and doesn't let go and makes it impossible for Mercedes to escape her fate. Monet then attempts to pin Stat since she won't let her go, but Chris is not staying down and she just stands up and brings an upside down CEO with her. Harley is within tagging Harley is within tagging distance and tags Monet's foot, coming into the ring just in time to save Mercedes from the Saturday Night Fever. No one can save her from the discus lariat, though, and Stat plows it right through Harley Cameron. Chris tries to keep up this momentum and gives the TBS champion a pump kick, but her leg gets yoinked by Monet and she cannot land it. Mercedes lands a knee to the face of Stat, but Stat shakes it off in time and puts the brakes on a whip to the corner and instead sends Mercedes into Hart's web. Julia wraps her legs around Monet, flips herself over the top rope and grabs hold of the CEO's legs. Now Julia has Monet trapped in the ropes with her beautiful tarantula submission. Because remember, Monet is no longer legal. The legal one is Harley. Harley goes for an old cheeky sneaky roll-up for the 3, but Chris kicks out. Harley runs into battle again, but gets her world turned upside down, and with a little tilt-a-whirl backbreaker from Stat. Chris then kisses her bicep, and before I can say "Nani," she lands the Haterade. Jamie Hayter's short, stiff lariat, and Harley is out. Monet can only watch from the momentous amount of pain, that was hard to get out, as Statlander gets the 3 on Harley and they get the win. Our world champion then gets delivered to the ring by Air Luthor, and she bestows upon Chris Statlander her praise and her applause, with a smattering of smut, because as we've heard from the world champion's mouth already, there is a pool party in her pants when it comes to the Chris of Statlander. My words, not hers, but they convey the same point. We bugger off from Collision as Mr. Shivane signs off with "We're the best wrestle," and damn motherfucking Skippy, it is. I love that match. That whole ending too was so fucking good. Having Mercedes trapped there, like she didn't even know that like Julia was like waiting for her, but Stat could see her. So when she got thrown in there and then Julia like wraps her up in the tarantula and Monet can do nothing but just watch as like they lose the match. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I cannot wait to see another match between Julia Hart and Mercedes Monet. In fact, I just love all the women's matches, but that will be really good. Right, and without, with that craziness over, we go to Ring of Honor. And before we get into the ladies, I just want to take a little moment to say that one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Mr. John Cruz, who has absolutely no affiliation but shares his spot on my faves list with Luthor, butler and confidant of our world champion, Timeless Tony Storms, as you remember, former tag partner, Serpentico. No relation between the two. But he is competing tonight in a tag match against the Dark Order. Spoiler, he died. Lexi Nair is here in all her stunning glory without the giant fucking flower and has just unveiled the new Women's Championship of Ring of Honor. It's the Ring of Honor Pure Women's Championship. There's already been a men's version for quite some time. Now, do not worry, my pets. Ring of Honor has not gone, all purity ring on us. Pure, in this context, relates to the idea of a pure technical wrestling match. In a match for the Pure Championship, certain rules do apply. You only have a very limited amount of rope breaks, each of 3. Once those are used up, the rope breaks are no longer a lifesaver from pins or submissions. Serena Deeb, who is wearing a gorgeous white bodysuit that kind of looks like lace, is sitting on one side of Lexi. Queen Amanada is sitting on the other side, also in white and looking stunning as usual. Serena has her Bible, or as I like to refer to it, the Deeb Cult Book of Wrestling holds, because I swear she secretly wants a cult devout following. I swear. As predicted, Deeb is still salty as fuck over the rejection from Queen Amanada, and while from a person with eyes perspective, I understand that could sting, but the woman doesn't want your help, Serena. Get over it. Oh, damn. Serena really pulls out the whole my generation's sacrifices are bigger than your generation's sacrifices. Oh, my God. She really does need to be in the fucking goddamn Don Callis arena. And the poised queen just allows her to rabbit on, non-bothered, uninterrupted. She knows who she is. When it is the one and only's turn to speak, she does so without sass, without raising her voice or insulting Deeb's book. She speaks with confidence, and I personally think that Deeb is fucked. But then I want her to get mad and, like I say, join the Don Callis family. So who am I to say I just want the craziest things to happen. At Supercard of Honor, these two will face off in the first round of the first ever match for the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Championship Tournament. Woo! Supercard of Honor will be held in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, I used to think that Atlantic City was in Atlanta. I don't know shit. But it's the hometown of Mr. Thingamajibby from the NZ militia thing, who wasn't a Kiwi, but we'll call him one anyway. That guy. That's his hometown. And it's on May 2nd of this month. This year. And that's it for Ring of Honors, Pickles. No match. No match at all. So we will just float on down the drain down to All Out. Now, I made a big old whoopsie doodle in episode 9, and I told you that the main card of the 2019's All Out had 2 women's matches. Even though I had already said previously, and I think maybe, I don't know, episode 1, 2, that the World Championship was actually fought for on the first Dynamite. I'd forgotten that. And I made the whoopsie. But it is actually, so it is actually only one match that is on the main card. I apologize. And it is Hikaru Shida versus Riho. Now, Riho is in her not wonderful, but it looks really cute. It's like, I call it her little like pink and white marshmallow outfit. It's very sweet. And Shida is out in all of her very gorgeous traditional Japanese attire. Now, going back and watching this match, I had completely forgotten, or maybe just didn't even pick up, that Shida is a singer and also a theater performer. And she gave up the entire career over in Japan to move to America to be in the AEW roster. And for that, I say thank you so very much, Shida, because you're fucking amazing. Shida, her presentation is always just so fucking unique and very wrestling. Very Japanese though as well, and she mixes it up. Like she's had like all this different fucking hair. She's gone from like red, not like with hair, but like maybe she has, but like her like outfit styles have gone from like red to like a darker, and then she went into like this blonde and stuff, and can't quite remember what form of Shida we have now. But she is a fucking AEW women's roster legend. And when her Titantron came on, I think she's got a different one now. But her first one was this one for like frickin' ages. And the Titantron starts off with, I think it must be her, in this amazing full-bodied, like, mirror bodysuit thing. Like, from head to toe, it's all just like mirrors, but skin tight. And just that one image alone, oh, that fed like my sensory fucking deliciousness so much, because I was just like, oh my God, oh, it's just so cool. So this is the first time that we've had like an all Joshi one-on-one match in Ring of Honor. And we are in Chicago? Yeah, I think we are. Yeah. I'm not going to bother and check that. We'll just say we're in Chicago. And so Chicago is very lucky to be getting this wonderful Joshi's match, because they wouldn't have really seen too many by now. Riho has been wrestling since she was like single digits. She's been wrestling since she was 9, which is insane. But hey, it happened. And they are both students of Emi Sakura, who is also an AEW legend. Hikaru Shida actually bet Emi Sakura, I think, to be in this match, which in like Japanese dojo life, that's a big momentous occasion for Shida. I actually remember, thinking about it now, I actually remember like watching that match and the commentators were saying that. And then when she won, I was just like, holy fuck, that's massive for Hikaru. So fucking cool. She's had like some little issues every now and then, but then so has Riho with the whole visa things, coming backwards and forwards now. I think she's like absolutely moved here. I think they both have like moved now. Actually, I don't fucking know where they live, but I think it's all a lot better now. So this match was hard hitting, Joshi style. So fucking good, so intense from the word go. The amount of punishment that Riho can withstand is absolutely mind-boggling. She's basically without the wanting to like climb up Mount Everest and perfectly happy surviving being hit by a bus in New York. She's almost like Darby Allin in like little Japanese Joshi form, like in the amount of punishment that she can take. It is bizarre. Like, she's a little thing, but she's quick, she's fast, she's strong, and I swear her entire body is just completely made out of like movable concrete, just like Darby Allin's, because he's also a sinewy little fuck. But she's just so fucking talented, and it really doesn't seem like her like veteran years of wrestling has taken that too much of a toll on her body, the way she moves in the ring. Like, she's basically got like ring experience of like someone who's like twice her age. It's astounding. She's a great wrestler. Hikaru Shida, I think, also was a stunt double, I think, as well. I think, if I remember correctly, which is fucking cool. So yeah, so they had a wonderful match. Riho ends up winning with a tight little roll-up. Funnily enough, with all these little tight roll-ups coming back into the into the women's roster, it seems to be quite the thing at the beginning. And Riho wins to go face Nyla Rose in the first ever Dynamite. It was a very close match. Shida tries to like murder Riho on multiple occasions. There's one time threatening to like powerbomb her onto the ground, but Riho does a wonderful little like grab on, just like Athena was when Mercedes was trying to powerbomb her onto the floor. She just fucking held on for all of her life. Once again, just another example of like literally every single like fiber in her tiny little body is just level 10 with strength, and it was brilliant. So we're going to be talking about the Nyla Rose and Riho match the next episode, and we'll be crowning our first ever women's champion. We have the women's championship there on display. It's like in a nice little case. When we see it on, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because, like, spoiler alert, Riho wins the championship. And when you look at it, you're like, oh, it's actually like a little small. And I've always hated like women's belts being smaller for like just because it's women. Like, you know, like the women, like the WWF women's belt, that was tiny as fuck. All the ones like back in the day, all tiny as fuck. Stardom ones are tiny, but they're tiny. Like, well, not really tiny. That's just being racist, really, isn't it? But they are very, very petite little belts. I've always liked the big chunky belt, and so that's why I love the one that we have now. It's like slightly changed over the years, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and now I think it's perfect. Mwah! Absolutely perfect. But it will probably evolve as like titles do. Speaking of titles, anyone know what the fucking men's world title looks like now? I still think it's buried in the desert somewhere. That thing is long gone. But yeah, so with that, people, we end today's episode of Don't Call Me Diva. Next episode is episode 10. We're in double digits. What the fuck are we going to be? What are we going to be talking about? What the hell is going to be happening this week on wrestling? I have no idea. It's some crazy world out there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are available every motherfucking where in audio and for your viewing pleasure on YouTube. Thank you so much to the wonderful Shane, my excellent producer, editor, promoter. Go check out his work on Shoot Style Sessions. It's very cool on Ethos Media Network. Mwah. Today, I want to shout out the new show from a great sicko. The show is called The Pre-Game. The Pre-Game? Ha! You'll love that. I'm giving him a shout out, and I can't even say his fucking show's name properly. The Pre-Game, although I did have a feeling I'd say that I'd fuck up on that one, with the lovely Kurt Jangle. Episode 0 is out now, and it's an epic yarn between himself, Trubs from Troubles with Wrestling. He doesn't call himself that, by the way. It's just me, so, you know, carry on. And Zippy from the Bubblecast, who, by the way, is also a very talented wrestling photographer, wrestling figure photographer on Instagram. You can find moi lurking in the dungeons of Threads. I'm scrolling down here, and also under a tree in Blue Sky. Wrestling is amazing. I love fucking wrestling. I love talking about wrestling, especially women's wrestling. Women's wrestling fucking rules. And don't be a dick.